Hey guys, Wolfie here, and welcome back to the channel. As always, the usual disclaimer: any opinion here is mine and mine alone. This is a tech playlist video, and as you can see, just a moment ago, you probably saw a certain troublemaker who's trying to have his way with some cables, trying to make himself known. You probably will see him in a moment. This particular topic within the PC Tech playlist is a topic I don't feel is addressed much, if at all, and it is coming down to cable ties. Now, you see in my hands, you have a like a cable tie, then you have something that looks like this, more like a reusable type. And for this particular video, I'm going to go over, the pros and cons of each. And in the end, I'll probably say them like more briefly, like early on in the video, I should say. Why I feel you should have both types of cable ties in your possession when you do some PC building. And without any further delay, here we go. Now, what I have here in my hand, these are what some people refer to as a reusable cable tie. For this particular one, let me get this out. These are from Asus, more specifically, the Republic of Gamers, and the power supply this comes from is known as ROG Thor. It to be more specific, it's the 850 watt certified A+ platinum. I know you can find this in quite a few places. I had to double check my new order history to figure out how much I paid for mine. And for this specific power supply, it came with that GPU cable that's meant for some of the newer graphics cards, where it's like that singular cable that's like worth about 600 watts. If I'm correct on that, please correct me in the comment section if I got any of that incorrect. But anywho, for this particular cable tie, the reason why I feel this has equal importance to PC building, because I'm going to use my glasses case here as let's pretend this is a GPU. So it's pretty much, designed for like a dry fit, where it's like, want to make sure things are clean, I want to get like an idea of what goes where. And the reusable types, can help with like organizing cables to make sure things are out of the way. So when you do put things like a graphics card in there or CPU, certain things where it's like you have to be really, really careful with how you put it in. It's like you have like the cables out of the way to make things easier on yourself. And by having these reusable cable ties in possession, it's like it helps you, like, you can easily take it off if push comes to shove, as well as like when needed. Now, the one particular strength I have for these, in the sense of having these around, outside of the fact that they're really ideal to have for some certain degrees of cable managing, is like in dry fitting. It's reusable. It's like you can adjust it over time. You don't have to worry about like cutting the zip tie completely. And zip tie cable tie is the same thing, depends on who you talk to, in my opinion. So you having a cable tie like this one, the one in my hand around, you don't have to worry about cutting it and replacing it. You just open it up, do what you need to do, sets like rearranging cables, all that stuff, then put it like refasten it. Now, you have to be careful when it comes to reusing the reusable cable ties. You have to be really careful, like the long-term game, in the sense that when it comes to Velcro, it loses strength over time. So you don't want to constantly be like undoing it, then redoing it, because it will lose strength over time. So it's one of the things you have to be extremely careful of. Although, like I said, the biggest advantage to having a reusable cable tie around is that it's excellent and ideal, in my personal opinion, for dry fitting, in the sense of like making sure you free up the area to like by putting in parts when needed, so on and so forth, but you don't want to be constantly undoing it to redo it. So with that bit out of the way, I'm going to go over to this type of zip tie. Now, it's a bit more plastic, and before I go any further, we have ourselves a special guest. And Sandy is actually trying to say hi. Yeah, I'm going to try to avoid showing the butthole, if at all possible. Just because this cat likes to show his butt. But anywho, regarding this particular type of zip tie that's in my hand, now this is this should be used if you're 100% confident you have everything in the right place. Everything's like done, you know it's going to post, blah blah blah. Now the thing, and again, it's like, yeah. Now, one of the biggest worries I have here is just like, in the event if something goes wrong, is that you have to like completely replace this type of zip tie and use a new one instead. Now, granted, it's like these come in wide varieties of like thickness, color, size, and so forth. However, you want to be careful in this realm of, you don't want to like be replacing these too much, due to the state of the economy. Now, granted, another advantage, an advantage that this has over the reusables is that it's like these are generally like save like some degree of space, meaning that you can fit more of these like when you do your cable managing. But like I said, the biggest thing you have to worry about is just like you're going overboard with like replacing these, and then you especially want to be careful when you try to replace it, because you could be cutting like into the varying cables to some components, and the last thing somebody will want is that the cable ties not being the only things that one replaces. And again, I am citing the current economy with my reasoning. Now, before I go any further, you may have noticed this part right here. I am doing a little degree of like housekeeping, renovating, in the sense of like getting like, let's see if I can point it on my screen. So where I'm pointing at, I am actually going to do some sanding out there. I have some paper towels to catch like the remains, so it looks a little bit cleaner. So just a little bit of a explanation if you guys need it. But back to this particular video. So for me, like I said, I do feel it's important to have both types of cable ties, like for computer building. The one I'm pointing to now, the reusables, it's like for dry fitting, to like hold things like in place until you have like every last component like together, so you can like everything like looks like really clean, or as clean as possible. Then this right here, this is important to have since to like making space, like when you're just about done with like the build. And even though there has been advice where it's like you could cable tie as you go along, but that's not always a good idea, especially if one is a rookie in the realm of computer building. And I do want to emphasize on one item, is that computer building is not for everybody. People simply don't have the time to build a computer. People simply may not have the aptitude to build a computer. And there are others who simply don't have the financial means to build it on their own. And for anybody who is going to try to argue, it's cheaper to do this and that, and by that, cheaper to build your own than as opposed to buying a pre-built, you have to think about the current state of the economy with the tariffs going on, and it's like some people have to wonder what's going to be a bigger priority, one thing or another, and that's something that to not take lightly at all. So on that, I'm going to go into and wrap it up with this. So when it comes to, in conclusion, when it comes to having both of these types of cable ties, I feel it's extremely important to have both of them for your builds, because you have your reusables on hand to like hold things over until you get the correct components, until you have like a routing path like completely set in stone. And then with the cable ties, it's like you're confident, you have everything that it's going to work. So it's always and then it's just like you just have to be extremely careful when it comes to like cutting the cable ties that I'm pinching, because you don't want to it's like if there's something you should try to replace only, and it's the cable ties. You don't want to be replacing components if you don't have to. You just have to exercise some extreme caution, and then the worry about the reusable cable ties is just like these lose strength over time, and you have to be extremely careful when it comes down to like how often do you take it off, put it back on, or if you're like using these like for like multiple builds like over time. So before I get done with this, before I wrap up this video, dang it. So the next video will be on Odin, like the future iterations of Odin. The direction I plan on going with it, so on and so forth. And that is it with this particular video. Now, before I truly sign off, I'm using this format intentionally, and that's mainly because it's like I just don't like using like the app I've been using for like videos where it's like I know I can grab the items I need in question like fast. And the next video is going to be like the Odin like one, because as far as I know, I've done the other two, like part 1 and part 2. So the next video is like the quote-unquote part 6 in that mini series where it's like upgrading, if I had to upgrade Odin, which is going to be a very long time before that happens. And speaking of Odin, I do want to address this here before I go into a little bit more detail in that video, is that I have sold Odin. The one that was a pain in my ass to build. It took me years replacing components, replacing a power supply on top of that. But I will explain more on what drove me to sell Odin. It's just one of those things where it's like it was out of necessity. And that is that. So with and on all of that all across the board for this video, I am done. So with Wolfie here signing off, I will catch you all on the flip side.